Yep. I hope you guys read the book.
Did you read the book?
Kinda.
All right, so I guess we'll just go through the first question. Why did Gaiman choose to incorporate a traditional legend in his novel? I think for me, the accuracy in folklore was really important to him, and so it just comes naturally when you're telling stories to kind of share your culture and share what I guess traditions and maybe superstitions of spirits and whatnot. Share that in your writings and stories, I guess.
Sorry, I'm just looking at this. I just got a missed call from Andrew. I think he's trying to add. I don't know how to add him.
He can just send a his email, and I'll add him.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, no, I think as far as incorporating traditional legend in the book, I think it really just kind of adds to the book in a lot of ways, and just kind of allows the reader to get more out of it than they would had he not chosen to incorporate the traditional folk tales and things like that. I think just because it kind of resonates more with people, they've kind of heard some of these stories, and so I think it's kind of fun for the reader when they're able to kind of take some of these elements of the story that they've heard, and then there's probably some new stuff that you hadn't heard. I'm not super familiar with Anansi. I'd never heard any of these stories, but he kind of in the book alluded to the fact that a lot of people might be familiar with Anansi stories. But yeah, I think it just kind of adds to it and enhances the whole book, I guess. It makes it more relatable to a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because we've been focusing on folklore like this semester, and then it kind of we grew up, everybody, no matter what the background and ethnicity we grew up with folklore. Everyone has a legend that they've been told and stories that they heard in their country, and so that's what it depends on. I think Gaiman try to incorporate traditional legend in his novel because his audience knows that they have like a background of a folklore stories. It's either a myth or a legend, so it make the readers kind of interested in his book, trying to advertise, buy his books, read his books, share. Let me just add Andrew. So that's how I think about the first question.
It's good.
All right, number 2. How did Gaiman adapt the story to meet the purposes of his novel?
I guess he kind of uses like symbols and motives, like the animals like magic and all those stuff, trying to incorporate as the purpose of his novel, like getting that idea of that the traditional legend, using those type of characters and names.
Yeah, I like how he turned the characters into people he was interacting with rather than like an actual spider. The spider was his brother, but it was just kind of like his name, but he was a god. I think that was cool to incorporate that so that it's more relatable, because he could just, I mean, I guess there was some like magic stuff in it, but I think it's relatable because of the things that they do also. I think that might be a part of the other question, but yeah, I liked how he was able to incorporate different aspects of the legends to fit with how he tells stories.
Yeah, I like that. I was kind of thinking along the same lines. Like he uses, because in some of those old folk stories, it is like it's an actual spider or whatever in the story, and it's interesting. But I think it does become a lot more relatable when it's, he kind of takes a more relatable character, and I think Spider does have some characteristics of a spider, but yeah, making them human and making them more relatable, I guess, makes it a little more interesting. Yeah, I mean, he does a lot of different stuff to kind of change the story and adapt it to meet his own purposes. But I think just having the story in more of a contemporary setting makes it a lot more genuine for the reader and a lot more interesting. Definitely. Any other thoughts? Andrew still hasn't been able to get in. It'd be good to have some extra people. Here we go.
Yeah.
So we're just looking at question 2.
I can see you guys, but it's not showing me for some reason.
Yeah, I can't see you.
Yeah, me either.
As long as you can hear us, that's what matters, right?
Yeah, all good.
Okay. Yeah, we're just looking at question 2. Why did Gaiman adapt the story to meet his purposes for his novel?
I'm pulling it up. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, you guys can just go on.
Okay.
What's question 3?
Yeah. In what ways does Gaiman make Anansi stories relevant to contemporary readers? I was thinking about how it kind of seems like, some of the events that were relevant were when they were kind of going out to bars. Well, it's not relevant to us because we don't go to bars, but contemporary readers. And kind of put in a situation and a time frame that it seemed like it was not today's. Well, I don't know when the actual story is taking place, but an era where socializing like that is a thing, and music and whatnot.
Wait, I'm having like a difficult. Can't really hear you guys.
Yeah. We'll try and speak louder, I guess.
Just the internet. I think it's just the internet. It's kind of like break on and off.
Bad connection. Yeah. I think Anansi's relationship between Fat Charlie and Anansi, like their relationship together, is relatable in a lot of ways, I guess. Because I feel like most people grow up, their parents embarrass them in a lot of ways, and they, it's almost like they do things to embarrass their kids. And I think that resonates with me in many ways, because my parents were always teasing me as a kid and always trying to make me look dumb or whatever. But yeah, I love the relationship between Anansi and Fat Charlie, and how he tricked him into like going to school dressed up as one of the presidents or whatever. So that was pretty funny, but I could definitely see something like that happening in my family. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any other thoughts on how the story is relevant to contemporary readers?
I was just thinking that, yeah, like you said, that we can all relate to the stories, because the relationship that the brothers have, like within the family, like having different personalities, opposite from the brothers, and when the spider just came, the long lost brothers, like the spider and the other son of Mr. Nancy. They're talking about how their personality is totally different from opposite from the brother. And when he arrives one day at Charlie's apartment, just shocked at the discovery of their fathers passed away. Can you guys hear me? Or
Yeah. No, that was good.
I thought you guys are like the same with it. I'm trying to figure out what you guys were trying to say. So, oh yeah, I'll just go with it, and then I'll just answer the question.
Yep. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
I thought it was interesting. It was a minor detail, but like when he met his brother, he was kind of like, he didn't even really know who he was at first, and he kind of just like spotted him almost. And I thought that was, I don't know, that was an interesting occurrence in the sense that like the rest of the book was based on their relationship. But yeah.
All right. Any more comments before we move on to the next question?
I think we're good.
Which literary elements did you find significant in the book?
I think kind of like what we talked about before, just the symbolism of characters and names and the different gods that they took on the characteristics of. So symbolism is a big thing. I felt like his relationships with kind of plot twist type of thing, those sorts of literary elements, where the fiance Rosie is now dating Spider, and then he gets married to the policeman, and it kind of twists it up and makes it interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I think character especially was a big literary element used to kind of portray some of the ideas, and I think the relationships between the different characters makes the book definitely a lot more interesting. Just kind of like one of you guys mentioned earlier, just like the differences, I guess, the split differences between Fat Charlie and Spider, and kind of how they kind of contrast and butt heads a little bit. I think is an interesting literary element used in the book. So I guess character is what I'm saying.
Yeah, just to add on to what you were saying, like those little conflict, just adding that conflict they have like different behaviors and all that. But one major conflict I was just thinking about is when it's between Charlie and the tiger, when they want to destroy, when the later they wants to destroy Charlie and Spider as a way of taking revenge on Anansi, to punish the boys for what the father had done to him. digging conflict that we had that can really I, I find it significant in the novel.
I think tone is also an important literary element used. Like the whole book seems to have a pretty light tone, and it's almost, you know, a lot of it's kind of joking, and the way the characters behave are kind of, everything's done in sort of a light tone, I guess.
Yeah, I think like it's kind of like when like this book kind of did it where it's almost like in movies in like a rom-com, or I don't know, just like in a full-on like slapstick comedy. Like you could have something happen and it just doesn't affect you because of the context. Kind of like how there's like a, you know, like somebody dies and it could be like a punchline, you know, it could be a joke sometimes. But then in like another setting in like a different book, that could be like the impetus for a big old series of dramas is one murder, you know? So it's kind of like, yeah, I think everything that happens is bad is kind of like not as bad because of the fact that, yeah, just like the tone of the whole book.
Good.
Yeah.
On to the next.
Yeah, let's do it.
The thesis.
Thesis. This is like my weakest part.
Yeah, let me pull mine up. I had one written down. Okay. I'll just read off my thesis that I've written. My thesis is Neil Gaiman's Anansi Boys is a story that demonstrates that amazing things can truly happen when a person really takes the time to discover themselves for who they are and force themselves to break free of social inhibition. This is seen through the story, throughout the story, through the use of the author's different literary elements such as theme, character, and symbolism. That's what I came up with, anyways. But basically, just you know, discovering oneself, I guess, is my argument.
I didn't do the last assignment, so I hadn't made a thesis yet.
Same here. I haven't think of a thesis. I only wrote down some main messages like theme and all that, but
I think, well, I like your thesis, and I think it can be really like fairly simple. Just the fact of how I just thought the author includes African folklore into everyday life, and kind of includes the drama of, you know, maybe experiences that he's had or his lifetime, and uses, like you said, symbols, character, plots, all those sorts of things in order to tell his story in a very relevant way. I don't know if, like, I mean, I could reword that so it's a more formal thesis, but I feel like the author does give us a lot of strong points that you can talk about within the thesis and then the analysis that comes up in the next assignment.
Yeah, that's good. How long have we been? It's pretty close to 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
We took time to actually do it, so
Yeah.
I think she's pretty mellow about it. We gotta see who does the submits the thing, right?
Yeah, the paper. Who hasn't done it yet?
I haven't, so I'll do it.
Okay.
If you guys wanna, like we normally do, just send it in the message app. I can just take what you guys said and then also what we talked about, and then I'll just submit it. Do we
I'll
submit
send
it
the URL.
for the video?
And
Okay.
I think it has to. Each and everyone has to send quotes.
Quote.
Each person should share at least 2 relevant quotes from the text.
2 quotes and a thesis, right?
And yes.
So we'll send that over in the group message.
Okay. So would we all individually have to include that in the like? So do I gotta submit it on mine
Yeah.
and you submit yours, or can we put our 2 quotes in the group paper?
I think that's what it's for. It's the 2 quotes
Okay,
go
okay.
group paper.
Okay. So I'll list everyone's name and then their 2 quotes.
All right. Sweet.
Sounds good.
All
Did
right.
you say you're just gonna send it to the Facebook group thing?
Yeah, you send your 2 quotes and your thesis into the Facebook group thing.
Okay, sick.
All right.